In the Tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the Tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Oh, come on, stupid pit. All right. No, I meant to do that while we were live.
Alright, hey guys, welcome to In the Tunnel. Second time streaming. This time it's episode 20.
Episode 20, we've made it
Hey.
so far.
Hey, people
All
say
the
we
way to
wouldn't get
20.
to 10 when I talk to them.
Of course, yeah, all the haters. The critics out there giving us 4.5 stars on iTunes. A family friend actually gave us one of the only review less than 5 stars because we apparently hated on LeBron.
Hey, whatever. We have our opinion. But their opinion.
I mean, look, it had to be done. It had to be done. That's what we do. Anyway, yeah, we're in the tunnel, and we are back for the 20th episode. Both have very busy schedules. Congrats again to Sean. I found out a couple weeks ago, new job, and yeah, we've been trying to get. We need to have like a set day for this stuff. It's just we both are insanely busy, so it's hard to do everything, have a social life, and be creative. But we're getting it done on our own terms. Block out the noise. Head down. Keep going forward.
Yeah, so, I mean, here we're gonna start off with NFL, and at the end we have something that relates to our title.
Yeah.
So, let's...
Yeah, we got some NFL, we got some hockey, we got some MLB for the last time because baseball died. Not sure if anyone noticed, but baseball is dead. America's pastime because in the sense of the word, it's past time. Yeah, so we're gonna get to those things. We're gonna give a little obituary to baseball. Apparently, it ended with the Red Sox, which I guess is a bad way for anybody's life to end is in Boston, but it is what it is. So we'll get to that in a bit. We'll start with some
Right,
football.
so you want to just start off with the... You want to just go down the list, start off the AFC?
I would love to if my computer would let me. And we're going to do a little refresh action. You know, it's amazing, these touchscreen computers. It's like they do such amazing things, like screw up how much of the screen it actually loads. God damn it did it again.
Anyway, so let's just go AFC East, right? So we have Patriots at first at 6-2, Dolphins at 500, 4-4, Jets 3-5, Bills 2-6. It's about what I expected.
How are the Dolphins?
Aside from the Dolphins.
Hold on. How are the Dolphins still at 500? I guess they silently won a game, but they haven't been like ever since they started 3-0. I didn't even know that they had played any other games. Like kudos to them for starting 3-0, but like I still don't understand like how are they still anywhere near in that thing? The Bills are crap. I mean, they've gone from Peterman to Josh Allen to Anderson. They traded away AJ McCarron. Anderson back to Peterman this coming week. Look, man, Peterman was okay in college. I never thought he was going to make it to the NFL because, I mean, he went to Pitt. He was like, that was Tom Savage who went from Rutgers to Pitt. But, like, I didn't know that Peterman was good enough to make it to the NFL. And, like, he's thrown a lot of interceptions, which makes me think he's not good enough to have made it to the NFL. But it's like, who do they have?
Who else
Who else
can
can they
throw a
turn to?
football?
That's the question. That is the question. And like, they stayed in it with the Patriots a bit, but like, I feel like the Patriots give the Bills one of those games to be in it for a while. Every
Fair
year.
enough.
And then the
Fair
other
enough.
game is just a blowout. And that game was in Buffalo. So like, when they play in New England, that's probably the blowout game. Like, we saw the Dolphins go into New England 3-0 and got obliterated.
Yeah.
So, and that's when we thought that the Patriots were looking slow. I have no idea how if the Dolphins make the playoffs, I'm going to consider them like
No,
still
not
not
at
a
all.
contender. Like, they'd still be a pretender
Yeah.
even if they made the playoffs.
But the problem with the Dolphins is they had that great start, but then they just completely skid. It's like they just lost all momentum with that loss to New England. Just took everything out of them.
Yeah, as New England tends to do.
But I mean, that's worrying if you think that the Dolphins will make the playoffs and put a showing on.
Yeah, I would say so. But the AFC is the weaker conference.
True. But still.
So a team like the Dolphins has a chance at the wild card, but I think realistically it'll work itself out where that doesn't happen. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, your Patriots are going to win the division. I don't think Dolphins hit the wild card spot.
Okay. And I'm assuming no other team from the East other than the Patriots will make your mock playoff bracket. Oh, the Dolphins are on a 2-game losing streak, so I didn't even realize that they...
Yeah.
Oh, they beat the Bears, didn't they? That was the Osweiler game. Yeah, so you can't throw the word Osweiler into like the game headlines and expect me to think that was a real game. I'm pretty sure Osweiler is still a free agent, but I mean, I guess that's where free agents and older players goes to like a Florida or an Arizona. So let's see, AFC West. The Chiefs are the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, Chargers have been actually like. I'm surprised that they're 5-2. I didn't think they would pull out like. I thought they'd be more around a 3-4 or 4-3, but they're surprising me.
Well, I think what the thing is that the Chargers kind of quietly have been building a defense, because when you think of the Chargers, you don't think of a defensive team. It's not that they are a defensive team, because on offense they have Tyrell Williams, Mike Williams, Phillip Rivers, Melvin Gordon, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen. They got a lot of stuff going on offense, but they've got defensive pieces that quietly get the job done. And so, that balance has helped them win the last 4 games they've played.
Yeah, I mean...
But it's weird, because it's like, do we say the AFC West is weak even though there's 2 teams that look
I don't think so. I just think that the standout bad team is the Raiders, but what do you expect? Like, I'm not necessarily saying the Broncos are terrible. Like, they're still decent.
The Broncos look like your classic 8-8, 9-7, or 7-9 team. I don't think that they're going anywhere, but which is a shame, because that defense is like, there's not a lot of pieces left from the Super Bowl winning defense that they had, but at the same time, that defense isn't getting any younger, and you can't leave Von Miller out there with whatever remaining pieces they have, and like, they should have been in win now mode, and I don't think that. I think they tried to create a roster that could win now, but I don't think that the way it's built and how it's worked out
Yeah,
will
but the
allow
thing
you to
is,
win
right?
now.
When you have 3 teams, one that's about like a 500 team, and two that are definitely, I definitely don't think that either of the other 2 teams are 500. Are you really gonna say that the division is bad because of the Raiders? I don't think so. Like,
Well, I think I haven't. Has there been a game where either the Chiefs or Chargers have lost to the Broncos or Raiders?
but my thing with that is even if they had like, I would say if the Chiefs and Chargers, well, so I don't think that you should discount either of the two higher teams for losing to the Broncos. I think they can pull out a win if you like, just underestimate them a little bit. They're an 8-8 team, in my opinion. So why would we say that the Chiefs or Chargers takes a hit from losing to the Broncos? Like, sure, if they both lost to the
Again,
Raiders, then there's a
because
huge problem.
But the conference as a whole is weaker.
I don't think so.
Well, I'm just saying if your
But-
competition as a whole is mostly the AFC, and the
Yeah, but-
AFC, the quality of the teams is not as great as the NFC, then in that sense
But
you can.
you want a weak division?
where,
Look at the
NFC
East.
winning teams.
That division is literally the Patriots and everybody else.
But that division,
Literally the weakest division in football.
The Bills made the Bills made the playoffs last year. The Dolphins made it 2 years before. It's still always been the weakest division. Like the Dolphins, I'm pretty sure went 11-5 2 years ago, and still we're like, not. We don't care. It is the AFC East only breeds one team
And
that's a contender.
see, I think the West, like the Chargers, make it in the wild card spot. They could take a game that like you can't count them out. So even if the conference itself is weak, right? They're playing each other in their own conference during the playoffs. So the weaker conference doesn't really matter until you get to the Super Bowl. And if your conference is fielding the Patriots, then you being the weaker conference doesn't really matter anyway.
I don't want our conference to be feeling the Patriots. Although I guess that's the only way that Brady retires. They win a championship and he's like, "Okay, I'm gone. Peace." It's weird, but that's a talk for another time. Because like we can legitimately talk about that every week. Is like, do we want Brady to win a Super Bowl and ride off into the sunset, or do we want him to lose? It's a very tough. That we could probably do an episode on that. Just to be honest, that conversation could last an hour.
Yeah. All right. AFC North.
All right. AFC North. This is where the big hits happen and well, I can't say where the low scores happen, but
I mean,
yeah.
Your Steelers went from last to first, right? Third?
Well, I think they were third.
I know, but like,
time we
didn't they
checked.
start the season in last or something? Because the Browns were surprising and went 2-2-1.
Well, I think the Browns went 1-1-1.
Oh, okay. So you were tied for last,
or something like that. Yeah, you know how those standings are. They take the name of the team.
Yeah,
because it's
but I mean,
alphabetical
I'm
or
just gonna
something.
say you're tied for last because you were. But I'm saying, like, through the course of the season, you started at the bottom, you got up to the top with your one tie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how good teams do it. They battle adversity, and I mean, I'll say this: I'm not sold on the Steelers being contenders yet, just because that defense, while it's played better the past couple of games, I never know with that secondary. I need Morgan Burnett. He came back last week, and he's playing behind the rookie safety Terrell Edmonds. But I need him to be healthy because Artie Burns has looked like a scrub cornerback for a first-round pick from 3 years ago. He went from like 2 years ago being like in training camp covering AB and making plays, and that's how you learn is by covering one of the best players. To like, the dude can't do anything. Like he can't. He hasn't even shown up for like Saturday walkthroughs on time. So, uh, I was hoping that they'd like sign or make a trade for someone at the deadline. They didn't.
All right. What do you feel about the rest of your division?
I need to see more. Well, the Bengals are gonna be the Bengals. Look, man. The only reason why they beat the Buccaneers is because the Buccaneers gave them enough time to like go on a drive. The Buccaneers probably should have won that game because the Bengals, bungled it away. Like they were up by like 10 or in the fourth quarter and lost the lead with like 45 seconds left. They shouldn't have won that game, but they did. The Ravens, have a defense that's played the best of any defense in the NFL this year, but their offense has at times looked bad, which is weird considering they signed like 3 Pro Bowl caliber wide receivers in the offseason, and their running game, they've always run with 2 capable running backs, maybe not like Pro Bowl backs, but still. And it's just they're an inconsistent team on offense, and on defense
All
you
right.
can only hope for so
So
much.
I think the Ravens are basically just like there. I like try to. It's like they play, but you don't notice them, in my opinion.
Yeah, although we'll notice this weekend
Well,
because
you
it's
will.
Steelers Ravens. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of those headline games. It always is.
And I mean, that's all I got to say about the Ravens. Like
series.
the past couple games, I haven't really noticed their play.
Yeah, I mean, they had that nice game against Tennessee where they won 21-0 and
Yeah.
had like a dozen sacks. But since then they've kind
Mm-hmm.
of fizzled out. Not the same. I mean, they lost to the Saints only by 1 point, but then
the Browns,
So-
after their fairly impressive start by my standards, they've lost 3 in a row.
So what's your take on all the headlines with the Browns? Because they obviously
So
have fired
Jackson.
the coach.
So is it the last 5 coaches have been fired after the second Steelers loss of the season? Don't lose to the Steelers twice. Got anything else to say?
Yeah, I do. My thing is that you have Mayfield, and he's a rookie quarterback, and I feel like consistency is key. You don't want to, start from scratch too many times with a rookie quarterback who's learning the league
I mean,
for the first time this year.
to be fair, if I had my way with Mayfield, I wouldn't have been forced to put him in a game, then start the next game. Like, I think even though he's decent, I would have liked to see them ease him in more. Like, sure, go ahead and play him this season, but let him take the fourth quarter of one game where it may or may not matter, right? Then give him some more snaps in the next game, but don't necessarily just throw him to play the full 60.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really forced into action. He was
Oh no, I mean, I considered that being forced into action. That's.
Oh yeah, well in that sense, I guess yeah. But for me, it's like there's obviously going to be growing pains, but too many different tempos and game plans and playbooks with different coaches, it's going to make it harder on a rookie quarterback who's trying to adapt to the NFL game for the first time. I'm not saying that Hugh Jackson shouldn't be fired, but what I am saying is if you're going to keep him this year, you might as well have just kept him this year and not changed up the system on the young guy and made it a little harder on him. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
He probably is going to do okay anyway, but you can't go 8 weeks into the season and be like, oh, and I think they said this is we wanted to do this now so that we could give Mayfield and these other guys as much time to like learn a new system. It's like, well, why didn't you just fire Jackson before the season started? Then, like, if he was on that on that short of a leash, you should have just
But
gone
isn't he
ahead
also
and
the
fired him.
losingest coach in like history? Second losingest coach in history.
Losingest. But I guess I heard from another podcast. Apparently, the losingest coach was also like he was either the GM or the owner of the team,
Oh.
so he couldn't be fired.
Well, I think that's your
So,
problem.
Like, his tenure was like that long, and no one could do anything about it. I think it was the Eagles owner. God damn it, Pitt. Anyway, what a shocker! They tried to throw down the field once, and we got
All right,
straight.
so let's wrap up the AFC with the South. I'm kind of surprised that Texans bounced back from 0-3 going 5-0. I didn't expect them to string together 5 wins. I'm not surprised that they're 5-3, just the fact that they got 5 wins in a row.
Yeah, see, here's the thing with the Texans is they have reached what we thought that the Texans were going to be going into the season, but they like came in so loopy and disoriented and then turned it on, which is weird because it kind of leaves us saying, hey, they're in first, but like, are they for real? Because we thought that they should have been for real, but were they? And are they? I think it's still kind of hard to tell. They traded for Demaryius Thomas, but it's not like wide receiver depth was the biggest issue that they had. I think injury problems will always be their biggest issue.
I agree, but I'm just saying, like,
that defense is only as good as J.J. Watt.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised that they strung together 5 wins. Like, not surprised at where they are.
But I think their competition hasn't been great in those 5 games either.
So, what do you think about the Titans? They started 3-1, now 3-4, right?
The Titans are that team that made the playoffs that could go either way this year, but I just can't buy the hype on them because the Titans, they don't have, like, they have Derrick Henry, who should be a bell cow back, but they're using Dion Lewis, that short pass receiving option back, instead. Mariota never really came to fruition as to what he was supposed to be, and that is, again, the thing of that defense can only be as good as, like, the offense puts up numbers, and they don't put up a lot of numbers. So they'll just kind of be middle of the pack in that division, and they'll probably miss the playoffs if a team like Jacksonville gets healthy and gets Fournette back and can make the playoffs.
Yeah, that division is really close.
That's not going to be the division where third place makes the playoffs because, like, it's just too tight in that division right now. So, I mean, the Colts,
I think they give up too many points to really be, like, thought about as a contender, like, to be able to do anything in the playoffs.
Well, see, the thing is that going into this year, there were 2 things that have been, for the past few years, one of their biggest flaws, or their biggest gaps, is their defense and their offensive line. So what they did is they focused on the offensive line in the draft. They didn't really focus on the defense. So I think they're probably building something, and they probably still do need a better running back too. But it's not happening this year. I guess you can hope that they don't go tank mode, but I think they'd probably be in a better position if they did.
Okay.
I mean, they got Andrew Luck back, but, like, you don't want to get the guy. You don't want to risk getting the guy hurt again just so that he could, bring you 5 wins and 11 losses. So yeah,
let's start with the East. So Giants are done. I don't know if you could tell by their 1-7 record, but yeah, and got rid of Eli Apple to the Saints.
Yep, they traded away the best Eli. Well, no, because Eli Manning
Okay,
was
I
playing
like everybody's blaming Manning. I mean, I don't think he's not at fault, but I don't think it's all his fault either. The right side of the line is just bad.
yeah, it is.
He
But
I
Manning's
think
made some
he could
overthrows this year.
do better to accept a hit instead of run away from a hit. But to be fair, he doesn't have enough time in the pocket anyway. I mean, even if he did, he's missing all his passes
Oh yeah, that
from what I
offensive
see.
line is- Yeah, that offensive line is a train wreck, which is a shame because they signed guys, they drafted guys in early rounds, and they've just all fallen
Yeah, like
through.
I mean,
It's
again, like
kind of amazing
I
how
don't.
bad it's
I
turned
think
out.
he's at fault with how he's handling a bad offensive line. Like he needs to step up, take the hit to get the right throw off, but he's not reading his own wide receivers right. He's constantly overthrowing them. So yeah, he's at fault, but at the same time, even though I said he should be doing this, he should also have like a second or two more in the pocket to read these things.
Oh, absolutely. That offensive line, like I said, is atrocious. I mean, tight ends these days aren't tight ends that block anyway, but not having a blocking tight end only
Yeah, but I mean,
makes it worse.
like even if you're a non-blocking tight end, you still chip the a rusher correctly. But
well, you should, yes.
I don't think
I
so.
don't know about Evan Ingram if he does. I have Ingram in fantasy.
Just cut your losses, dude. Cut your losses.
He's like a wide receiver. Well, I've got Vance McDonald. I've got
Okay.
Vance McDonald too. I'm good.
Cut your losses correctly.
Best trade I made. Nelson Aguilar and Vance McDonald for Deshaun Watson.
I'll take.
Yeah. It worked out all right.
Anyway, rest of the division though, I want to get to, right? It's that the rest of that division is still up in the air. It's anybody's, but I think it's a one-team division.
Relatively up.
Yeah, like
it's now at the point where the Redskins have a 2-game lead in the division, so it's theirs to lose just because.
But the
of
problem
that
is,
two-game lead. But the Redskins are your classic team.
Yeah, but the problem is also any of these teams play each other, it's toss up who's winning. Aside from the Giants, obviously, but
yeah, but they've played each other once, so you now bring
but I mean, it's a toss up. I think sure it's theirs to lose, but they're a toss up just as much as the whole division is a toss up.
Yeah, I mean they've played well, and they bought in during the trade deadline. They got Clinton Dix from the Packers.
That name threw me for a loop when I read that.
So,
nope.
You had never heard the name before?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but that shows you how much I used to pay attention to football. I mean, I started paying attention more because of what we're doing, but...
Yep, you're listening to In the Tunnel. On iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, podcasting platforms. Just a quick play.
Yeah. Anyway, so...
the Eagles are an okay team. I don't know which way the Eagles go yet.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is they've been severely inconsistent both at home and away.
Yeah, but they haven't given up. They've only scored 22 points more than they've given up in the season. And you'd think with the defensive investments that they've made, they would have done a little bit better in that margin. So, I don't know. They're just a little too inconsistent for me.
And then the Cowboys are completely consistent at winning at home and losing away.
Yeah, in the house that Jerry built, you will not lose. In everybody else's house, you're
implode.
You're gonna absolutely get dismantled. But which is weird because you think that the Giants. Ooh, I wonder what will happen in the Cowboys Giants game at MetLife Stadium.
If the Giants win, I'd be surprised. Yeah.
But the numbers never lie. And the Cowboys
Yes,
are
but the
0
Giants are
4 away
0
from
and 4
home,
at
so
home.
it's a toss-up. Ooh. They look at each other this
I
week.
don't know.
That might be a must-watch game. Or it's either a must-watch or a must-avoid.
I'll go with the
Ooh,
must
this is
avoid.
good because I wonder. Ooh, man, this is. I want to see if this game. This game should be like a Sunday night
Monday Night
game.
Football. Who's gonna lose?
Yeah, this is the classic game that should be flexed but doesn't. Oh man, Titans Cowboys on Monday night. Yeah, that's disappointing.
Anyway, so let's move on to the West, which has the last undefeated team in football.
Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done with the
Well,
Cowboys.
too bad.
Titans,
Mhm.
Cowboys are.
So they're gonna win, right? So
They're both.
there you go. If you have Survivor or anything, pick the Cowboys.
Yeah. I don't believe it. I'll remember the Titans. I won't believe.
Yeah. So
them.
anyway, the West, right? The last undefeated team in football, and the Rams.
You're the king of just like transitioning off of absolutely nothing. Yeah. So the Cardinals should be tanking. For some reason, they decided to beat the 49ers and win a game. That was weird. But then the 49ers started a third-string quarterback and beat
Yeah.
Raiders. So it's kind of hard to tell like when their tanking is truly going to begin.
Yeah,
Both
but I
teams
mean,
probably should be.
are you
Especially
really
the
going to beat the
49ers
Raiders and
because
Giants at tanking
You know,
at this point?
well, but the 49ers, with their team stinks because of injuries and inconsistent start. But they still have a team that's pretty good, but that if they tank around or tank this year, can draft high and create an even better balance for the future. Because this team was supposed to be built for the future anyway.
Okay.
So this is their chance. Look, you can't beat the Raiders or Giants for the number one spot, but you might as well try to grab a top
Fair
five
enough.
spot while you're here. The Seahawks, they're a weird team because, like, I just feel like even though they'll probably make the playoffs because they're starting to show signs of life, I can't.
I don't believe in them.
I feel like that.
I don't
chapter's
believe in
over
them.
for them. So I feel like if the Seahawks make the playoffs, I think it's 5 teams that made the playoffs in the NFC. I just don't. I can't believe that the Seahawks are going to do anything.
Okay.
And unfortunately for them, because recent success in past years, their fan base as well as the expectations of the average NFL fan is not to be satisfied with them
Right.
just making the playoffs because of the success they had. But if you're a Seahawks fan, making the playoffs, enjoy it while you can because it's probably it's the decline.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Feel
Well,
free to
I
add
mean,
anything to
I
this,
have
man.
nothing.
Just throw it. Just throw it to me. Let me tell a story.
But
and
like,
then we move
I
on
have
to
nothing
the
to
next
add. I
thing.
think the
value
Cardinals
your
and 49ers are both like they should just give up on the season. And I
Mhm.
don't I mean, I don't see the Seahawks making the playoffs. I actually scratch that. I don't know who the sixth team in the NFC who I think the sixth team in the NFC will be for the playoffs. The Seahawks could be them, but like even if they do make it, I don't see them being impactful.
Yeah. But I mean, see, that's the difference. There is like I'm gonna throw the NFC East aside, and I think you said it too. Is that's probably a division where
That's a
one
one-team division, yeah.
makes the playoffs. Yeah, the NFC West. You could say that the Seahawks could make it, But when you look at the NFC North and South, as we're going to do in a second, you start to think like, yeah, the NFC West starts to look more and more like that division where one team makes the playoffs, just because of the competitive balance in the other two divisions.
That's why I'm
North
thinking
and
like
South.
even if because you definitely know two teams are going to come out of the West, North, or South. Right? So two wildcard teams will be out of those three divisions, in my opinion. And I don't I think the North or South have the better wildcard team.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so to the North we go. So the Bears are in first place because
they have one
they
less
don't
game
have
played,
a tie in their record.
right?
Yeah, it's too late for math. I mean, I still think that the Bears are better than. I don't know that the Bears making the playoffs. It's weird because like I don't know that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl or even the conference championship because it's a young team that's building, but they've got as good a shot at it as any team seemingly has to. The Vikings are coming on strong, even though they lost to the Saints last week. Packers are the team that looks alive, but it's kind of like they are still in the mud a little bit. They have a lot of work to do to convince
they also
that they're.
They also have the problem where they can't win away. And if you're trying to make the playoffs, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, home field advantage.
Well, not even even if they're trying to make the playoffs as the wild card team, you probably want to be 9-7 or 10-6, right? You only play 8 home games.
But I'm just saying that like, you can't make it to that home field advantage stage if you don't win your away games in the regular season. So like being 3-0-1 at home doesn't mean crap when you can't win the away games now either. And the Lions, I mean, they got a defensive tackle at the deadline, but I don't think anybody really thinks that the Lions are going to do
kind of surprised they're in it at 3-4, really. I mean,
yeah.
I expect them to be like maybe a 5-11 or 6-10 team.
Well, the thing is, they beat the Patriots.
That's the problem.
Right there. That's like they won the season. they won the season. By what their standards should have been, they won the season. So there are no playoffs for them. Just ride out the rest of the schedule. Go play golf in February.
And
good time.
Down to the South we go with the Saints. They're 6-1. They lost their first game of the season, and they have won since. I think they've been kind of what I like. It's what I expect, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
Yeah, but they've been playing. I don't think they've been playing great all 6 games, but they've been playing they've been doing what they need to do.
Yeah, they'll probably go.
Yeah, something like that.
At this point, 12-4, 13-3, but like, it's just. I mean, at 6-1, it's kind of hard to. The way that they've been putting points up, it's just kind of hard to foresee when the next loss is going to be. The Panthers, they beat the Ravens last week. They're looking.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I spent so much time considering the Seahawks if they could make a wild card spot, because the Panthers have been putting up a pretty good showing. I mean, they're perfect at home right now, and they've showed that they can at least take a game or two on the road. So you're looking at that as pretty good, a decent chance to hit the wild card. And then you're telling me that so I think the Lions are just gonna fall, and so the Vikings are I'd have to think 2 of the North teams that are left are gonna make it.
The Vikings, I don't think it's either going to be the Packers or the Vikings. Yeah, it's not going to be both.
I'm saying it's the Bears and then the Vikings or Packers. Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's what like the Panthers being where they are is what really made me reconsider if I thought the Seahawks could make it. And just because they're 5-2 and they've been putting on decent showing, they they have the better
Yeah.
shot in my opinion. And then the rest of the two teams in their division are just like whatever.
Yeah. For the Falcons, I think they got pack it in call of the year and try to get some depth in the draft next year. For the Buccaneers, try to stay competitive just because staying competitive for them
Net them a good
instills
draft pick.
like that they still have life. Well, they don't have too many gaps. Like, I mean, we thought that this team would be a borderline contender, I guess, last year. So they didn't really lose a lot of pieces. They just need to put it all together still. And there's still like a couple years to do that, I guess. I'm not closing the window on it. I don't think that Jameis
No,
is it anymore though. So I mean, if you're gonna tank, you might as well try to get
but the
a
problem
good
is this
QB
draft doesn't
around
have
3 and 4
good QBs
just
past
to do it.
number one in my opinion.
Yeah,
And even
that's what I'm saying is like at at 3 and 4, you're not in the position
and
to
even the
get
number
there.
one QB, I don't
So
know
you
how
might
much
as
of a
well.
franchise guy is.
It's hard to tell because the last Oregon QB taken in the top 5 has not really
Yeah.
done a lot yet.
So
Mariota, man, I mean that dude was supposed to be a dual threat. He can't do one thing at this point.
yeah. All right. I mean, I think that pretty much covers NFL.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we dug
that's
a
good.
little deep there. All right, so
Let's
where do you want to go next?
put baseball to rest.
All right, so here we lay the MLB season ended sometime this past week. I'm too lazy to look it up. 2018. Uh, they put a banner on it instead of a tombstone to make it a celebration of its life. Uh, it was a traditional series. You got the Dodgers and you got the Red Sox make it to the World Series, and just as you would expect for it to happen, the AL was just a powerhouse compared
Yeah.
to the NL. And
No,
I don't think it's a surprise. I think you maybe thought that LA would have
I
gone
was
one more
hoping.
game, but I don't think we
I
ever
was hoping for a
thought this
closer
one was
series,
going
but
7.
I thought the AL was gonna win.
But that's just the way that the playoffs have worked
Yeah,
out this year. There's been one close
and
series,
LCS.
which was the Dodgers.
Yep.
Yeah, the Dodgers and Brewers. Every other series, you were lucky if you saw a team win
Yeah.
one game. So I don't know. It's you look at it and say like these are the times where competitive balance in baseball goes missing because you have different payrolls and you have different appeals to those teams that are always in it, and teams like the Red Sox and Dodgers and Yankees will always be there because of stuff like that, and it makes you look at it and it's like, well, you'd rather have a storybook team kind of, you know, make it and have a shot at
The
it
same
instead
thing
of
over and over.
like this where it's so right. So we'll see. But my main thing is I think the Dodgers are cursed. I mean, Manny Machado was a straight up asshole that World Series. He openly came out and said that like he's not a dude who's gonna hustle down the line to first base, and like he just played like garbage
Yep.
in the World Series, which is a lot. Which is the Dodgers they paid such a heavy price for a rental in Manny Machado
Yep.
for that to happen. You would think that like hustle for half a season and go collect your money, man. Like Jesus, it's not that hard. Um, but no matter how much money in the payroll they've put towards building a team, Dodgers haven't won a World
Hmm.
Series since 1988. Got the best pitcher in the game. They had an amazing rotation for most years in the, or more often than not years in the past five, and as good of a batting lineup as you could hope for. They've now gotten to the World Series 2 years in a row,
I mean, that's.
and this last year was
But
closer
getting
for
to the
them
World
than this
Series
year.
2 years in a row is still an accomplishment. Like, sure, they didn't win it, but
It
they were
it is,
outclassed.
but
Like, you didn't see them winning it. I didn't see them winning it. How do you think that's a curse? Like, they just were not good.
the only reason why I saw the Dodgers making it is because I look at that Brewers logo and I just don't think that team, because that team has never looked like, that team has never made the World Series in my lifetime as good as they've ever been with the Prince Fielders and guys like that. I just can't believe that the Brewers were going to make it. So I just don't
Hmm.
know. For the Dodgers, it's kind of like, what more can you do? There's like no holes in the roster.
I mean, the problem is more so that, like, Boston just, their hitters were on point. Like, they
Yeah,
were getting the right hits. I also think that's more of a, like, I guess they were more opportunistic with mispitching and all that. Like, sometimes you're just like, why the heck did you throw the pitch there? And
yeah,
Boston took
absolutely.
advantage.
The Red Sox hitters certainly made a lot of pitches
Boston
look
took
bad.
advantage of the pitches they were given, and LA
Yeah,
couldn't.
yeah,
At least not to that extent.
yeah. I mean, like a lot of those games
Yeah,
weren't very close in the playoffs for
yeah.
Boston. And it was like that game one was like 8-4 in the World Series. So I don't know. There were close games, but the Dodgers needed one more to make it, like give them some real hope, and they didn't. They lost. Was it? Did they lose the game that went like 18 innings or something? Or
Isn't
did
that the
the
only one they
Dodgers win that
won?
one? I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm drawing a blank here. It's Friday night, folks. Friday night. We should have done this show from like a bar. Yo, we should like do that in person. Just the two of us go to a bar and start
Oh
podcasting.
boy.
Hey
Dodgers, yeah,
man, you gotta
Dodgers
have
won that game
ideas.
in
We got
18 innings.
fun. Okay, so the only time that they won a World Series game this year was when the Red Sox game went so deep that they
Basically.
fell asleep. And as asleep as they could be, the MLB season sleeps further. Until next year, baseball, sayonara. Or at least until December, until
Basically,
free
yeah.
agents start
So,
signing. I mean, Kershaw just signed a new 3-year
yeah,
deal
but
with
I
the
mean,
Mets. So.
you gotta expect that. They had to keep, like, there's no way you let him go. You gotta give him.
Yeah, I mean, it can't possibly be any worse with him. Or, you know, well, let me. Thinking's not letting me do this as well as smoothly as I want to right now. They couldn't be any better without him.
Yeah,
So you might as well keep him and be
yeah.
better. All right.
Let's talk some hockey. All right, so
All right, let's do it.
let's go with news. Like, so, Tom Wilson's suspension was upheld by the commissioner for 20 games, but he went to a neutral arbitrator, and that guy says that the decision will take time because of stuff.
See, this is where it becomes stupid to have gone to an arbitrator, because would you rather miss the games that mean more later in the season? Just take the
But
20
it's not
games in
about
the
the
beginning
games,
of the
it's
season.
about the money, because he won't get a decision until those 20 games are almost over anyway. But
So is he
no,
playing while it's
no.
going
It's
to
about
an
the money.
arbitrator?
Like, because if it gets reduced to 15 games, even if he can't actually play some of those games, he gets 5 games worth of money back.
Okay. And he wouldn't have gotten that money if he did it
No.
later
It's
in the
it's
season?
he's fighting for the money back, not for the 20 game suspension, right?
Oh, okay.
He's trying to reduce the
So-
number of
so
games
he's
so
not-
he gets the money back, not necessarily to play those extra 5 games.
So, essentially, if the arbitration is going to take time, it's a paper move.
I mean, to be fair, the arbitration is going to take time. This guy was like presented with so much evidence of whatnot, and yeah, but
Well, my thing, what I'm saying is, it's a paper move. Is that it in the sense that Wilson is going to more likely than not have missed enough games where it's like, say he misses 17 and then they reduce it to like a 15 game suspension, he'll have missed enough games anyway to have
yeah,
already served the suspension,
he's
regardless of what it was, and then some. So really, he's only fighting for the money. So when we say that it's been upheld at 20 games, there's reason to believe it'll still stay at 20 games because
no,
of
not
how long the
necessarily,
process
because
will take.
if the thing is, right, the arbitrator can't just say I'm going to hold it at 20 games because you've already missed that, because that's a BS ruling.
No, I'm saying in the sense that he says, or that the arbitrator says it's going to take time.
But so
Contingent on what time is and how long it takes is contingent because the Capitals have already played
Right.
11 games this year.
yeah, so he's literally fighting for the money back because he doesn't want to lose it, not necessarily to
Yeah.
play the games, which is all I was saying. Right?
Right. So no, I think we're talking two different headlines here. You're talking the money, I'm talking. So I think a fan reaction is going to be like, oh, Wilson's, because they do go together in the sense that like the suspension will be reduced
Uh-huh.
possibly. So it might go down to 15 games even though they've already played 11. So fans will be react and say like, well, he's not that bad guy. He got the suspension knocked down, but it'll be like, well, he still missed the 20 games, regardless of like what it was said after the 30th
Yeah.
game of the season. So yeah, fight for the money if you can. Absolutely, I don't think anyone would blame you for that. But at the same time, in terms of the games, I think it's probably going to stand pretty close to 20.
Yeah, so I
Give or
think
take
like the
five.
arbitrator said it would take like a week at least, if not 2. And 2 weeks would put us around November the 16th.
7 games. Yeah, that would be probably.
They play their
6, 7
20th
games
game on November the
schedule.
19th.
Ooh,
So,
that's a
I
close-
mean, again, like, if we're talking an arbitrator's taking that much time, the games don't matter.
yeah. I'm interested to see how that works out. Although I'll be brutally honest, I probably won't.
Don't
be
worry,
paying
I'll tell
attention
you.
to people. Yeah, I'm not gonna get on Twitter and be like, "Is Tom Wilson still suspended?" And see if there's an account for it.
Website is tomwilsonsuspended.com.
Hey, there's one for the last how many days since the Flyers won the cup? So why
Sure.
not? All right, so go ahead.
So, yeah, the other
transition
headline
here.
was the Red Wings had previously been so bad that Arby's had to change their promotion from free curly fries after a hat trick to free curly fries after the Red Wings score 3 goals in a game. Well, since they did that, the Red Wings have scored 3 goals or more in every game.
It's the curse of the curly fry.
So yeah, I
But
think,
it's a curse for Arby's. I didn't even know that they had Arby's up in.
but
Well, I've
like,
never been to
I
Detroit anyway.
I think that
Anyway, moving on.
they even like sure go ahead and change the promo because they're so bad, but a hat trick is way like extremely different from 3 goals. Like at least make it like 4 or 5 goals
A hat trick.
as a team because they were talking team goals, not hat tricks anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, a hat trick is so rare that I feel like you deserve more than curly
Hey,
fries.
I'm not the PR person that chose that promotion.
I mean, let's just talk a little, business and endorsements and stuff like that, though. You think that curly fries is setting the bar a little bit low for for how infrequent?
Yeah, but it ended up being so infrequent. That's why they changed it. The last one they had was like in 2016.
I mean, yeah, a lot of their
So
players got
I
hurt.
mean, I'm just saying that a hat trick is so different than 3 goals. It should have been like 4 or 5 goals as a team, in my opinion.
Makes sense to me. All I'm saying is throw in a Reuben.
All right.
All right, or a Euro, or a Gyro, or a Gyro, whatever you want to, depending on where you're.
All right, but let's get into actual talking standing.
Yeah, let's not go. As
Yeah,
deep as
I
we did
mean-
with football though. We did football.
Yeah,
standings
I
for
mean-
a little too long.
If it like, I just want to do highlights here. Like the Lightning have been playing pretty damn well. The Canadians have been really surprising in how well they're doing. The Maple Leafs taken a little bit of a fall from their really hot start.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, you still got
hurt.
Tavares, Marner, and those guys. Like, why are you?
Yeah, but you do still miss some of the.
Sure, but you shouldn't be losing like 5-2 or whatever.
Yeah, Matthews doesn't make that much of a difference because he's only playing X amount. Of
Yeah.
minutes
So,
a game.
and the other thing is, the Sabres are still
I think
above
the
500.
The Sabres them in the middle of the pack is a bit surprising for me, but kudos to
Yeah.
them for putting
The rest
some
of the
in
division
there.
is like normal though. Those are my highlight teams.
Yeah. I mean, the Sabres, they're probably not a playoff team this year, but it gives you something to build on if they.
Yeah, and
consistently
Dahlin
do it.
for them has been really good. He played top pairing minutes last game, I think it was. And I thought he did pretty decent for a first time top pairing. Like, couldn't complain.
Yeah. All right, so the Metro.
Not surprised about the Penguins. The Islanders are a surprise to me.
Yeah, well, the Islanders are only there twice this week. The Hurricanes were in second place before that.
It's still a surprise that the Islanders beat the Penguins twice this week. That's a problem, in my opinion.
The Islanders being competitive certainly surprising. It's one of those things where we'll see
Okay.
how long it lasts.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I thought the Jackets and Hurricanes are where they were supposed to be, like, in a sense. Like, I think the Jackets will fall a little bit. Capitals, they've been looking iffy here and there. And then Flyers, they're like, I don't know. I expect them there. Devils started really hot and then just crashed so much that they sent Pavel Zacha, their third line center, down to their AHL team. So yeah, I don't know. And then the Rangers are where we expect them to be. We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, why would we want to talk about the Rangers? We just talked about the Islanders.
Yeah.
That's enough New York sports.
All right, you want to go through Central?
New York. All right, sure. Yeah, so the Predators are 10-3. They're the house because that window is still open. I mean, good teams do what good teams do. We've known for a while that they're a good team. The Jets, again, we knew from last year that they're a good team. The Wild.
I actually think 7-3-2 is pretty good. Of like a little bit more of a start than you were expecting, but yeah.
Yeah, But I think that the Wild they always seem to slot into that 4th or 5th seed when it comes playoff time and then do
Fair
nothing
enough.
with it. So I think the Wild are one of those teams where the regular season record doesn't really mean anything to
Okay.
me. Blackhawks are still on a slow start. Not doing horribly, but if it was a short season, they wouldn't make it with this record. But
I mean,
it's a long
their
season
window
for a
had
reason.
closed a while ago.
Well, they still don't have a goaltender.
But I mean, even then, like, I don't see like that team being competitive in the playoffs anymore.
Yeah, which is a shame because with
Mm-hmm.
their offensive talent, they still have Taves.
Yeah, but
and
like
Kane
Duncan
and
Keith is a liability.
put up-
I mean,
yeah.
it's great on him. He played 1,000 games, but he's a liability on defense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of their guys were. The Blues.
The Blues
Yeah,
are actually like
Blues in multiple senses.
they're surprisingly really inconsistent. Like they're just terrible some days, and then like not even inconsistent as in terrible and good. It's terrible and barely passable.
Which is weird because my standard for the Blues is a team that's no matter how good they are terribly inconsistent. In the
But
playoffs.
that's them in the regular season right now. Forget the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they've reached peak Blues.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Last division. Pacific Division. We have the Flames at the top, which I'm a little surprised by, with a goal differential of 0. Even more surprising. That's just bad.
You've won 8 games. Which sucks.
And then you have the Canucks, who are second, who just literally have one extra loss because the Flames lost in overtime, so they have an extra point. And they have a goal differential of -4. And
well, if I can backtrack and defend the Flames for a second, they gave up 9 goals in one game to
that's a
Penguins,
problem.
so.
That's not defending them.
Well, it is in a sense that their margin probably would have been better. If you
But
take
that
away
still
that one game.
is a game. Like, they played it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm going to bring them a little
Alright, yeah,
higher
like,
from
and
earth here.
for the Canucks, right? They're -4, but I mean, when they have Pettersson, they're just playing so much better. I mean, even though they did win the games without Pettersson, like, but you can see he's dynamic on the ice. He's moving the puck great. He's taking great shots, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Oilers have recovered from their atrocious start.
Yeah, they just need to.
They're no longer completely the Connor McDavid show. So good for them.
Yeah, they have Draisaitl.
Yep, and don't forget Lucic.
Who could forget that?
Then you got the Sharks.
Milan Lucic's contract probably hangs over a dark cloud hangs over a rainy day. Like that's just like the perfect analogy.
Yeah, but so then you got the Sharks, who's tied with them in points but have one less win. I feel like they're finally starting to find their groove a little bit. Like at the beginning of the season, you just like, what is this team? They were doing nothing on the power play. And they have Carlson and Burns, like
the addition of Carlson.
So I mean, I think they're starting to find their groove now, even though they're lost their last 2. It doesn't really show much. They can bounce back and they'll be around there. And they are the first 2 teams with a positive goal differential of 2 each. Oh my! Well, this division is like so bad.
Martin Jones. Yeah, and it's about to get worse because the Ducks and Golden Knights, 2 teams that you would think playoff teams because the Ducks always make the playoffs. Golden Knights
But
were in the final last year.
But the
Rounding
Ducks
off the
just
bottom.
Gibson got hurt, right? So they aren't looking. They don't look like they have a bright season ahead of them.
I don't make excuses for John Gibson. He's looked plenty bad in games.
Yeah, but he gets
I
them
will
to
not
the.
make
He
excuses
gets
for
them
him
to
in
the
regular
playoffs, and
season. I will not make excuses.
but I
for
mean,
him. Look, the guy is from Pittsburgh. I want to make excuses for him more than anybody else.
yeah, but he's hurt,
I'm
so
not
they're
going to.
and I think they're dealing with a little bit of injury trouble. But hey, hey, hold on. They have a goal differential of -6, right? And now we get to the surprises, right? The
Not terrible.
Coyotes, they're 6-5.
Yeah,
They are at the bottom three.
very loose definition
Well,
of surprise.
surprise in the sense that they couldn't score. Now they can score a lot.
I think surprise in the sense that they're not the last
Nah,
team in
dude,
the division.
the Kings are just so bad. Yeah,
Well,
but
they've got
anyway, so
Kovalchuk,
the Coyotes, they have a positive 10 goal differential right now. They have the highest goal differential in their division, and they are third from last.
I must have put the wrong pick.
No, you're not wrong.
In this document.
And yeah, so I mean, they're finally getting their groove, and they have a lot of young guys. So I mean, I don't expect them to be a playoff team by any means, but they're not like 31st in the league bad, like they had been in previous seasons.
Congrats on being 26.
Yeah, then you want to hit the Golden Knights?
Not really much to say. They struggled coming out of the gate, and
I think so. From struggling to get out of the gate, they finally have hit a point where they're at least like win one, lose one at this point. Like, in a sense, they managed to get points out of, since their pretty bad start. They've managed to get some points, and I feel like Pacioretty's finally starting to like fit in. So we'll see how that takes them.
Yeah, they did lose some pieces.
Yeah.
And they added some off-season, so some time to figure things out. But they did start slow. There's just no other way.
Yeah.
around.
So, and rounding out the Pacific Division is
as he said,
the Kings, right? And if you ask me, I'm totally okay with this because I'm a Devils fan. And guess who's on the Kings?
Yes. Why does that not surprise me? Although, like, that just speaks to like where the Kings, front office mindset is at. Is they paid the big money for the guy who makes stupid signings and do stupid things, and stupid things happen back.
Yeah, but hey, all the fans are like, you gotta fire the coach, and then the team and the owners are like, we're not firing the coach, he's not the problem. So there's a pretty big disconnect in their fan base right now, like, at least from their fan base to them. Yeah, he's on IR.
Hurt?
But that guy gets hurt every other season, so not surprised.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for him, but not surprised.
It used to be he got hurt every other season and takes you to
when he was healthy.
Season, but 2015 was a long time ago.
Yep.
All right. You got anything else?
Yeah, so just quickly, we gotta see, because Matthews is gonna be out for a while. You're looking at the Maple Leafs to actually start, scoring again, because Matthews was not their entire offense, even though he was a big part of it. You still had Marner up there. Kadri was still doing some things. Tavares was still up there. You can't just say Matthews was the end-all of your team with all those players. So I'm looking for them.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm
looking for them to at least bounce back a little bit, and I'm looking at the Sabres to take some games off of unsuspecting teams, because even if I don't see them in the playoffs at the end of the year, the way they're playing right now, with the youngness they have and the way that Dahlin's playing, especially, like, they can surprise some teams and later in the season be the dark horse that knocks somebody out of the playoffs but doesn't necessarily put themselves in.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Anything you want to add?
Holy crap. Well, yeah, this doesn't really have anything to do with hockey, but Pitt's kicker just made a 53-yard field goal, and he's doing like real dances in the middle of Virginia's.
What?
Yeah, it's kinda
Okay.
scary. They're up by 10 on number 25 Virginia. This is kind of weird. This is all the setup for a Pitt disaster. Nail 53-yarder in the. Whoa. He just went. Oh, wow. I mean, he's basically like taunting the crowd for a kicker. There's still like 7 minutes left in the game. Anyway. So it's now. You ready for new
Yeah,
segment
so
time?
you want to live up to our namesake?
I would, and I would like to do it.
You would like to do what?
I'd like to do it in a funny voice, Sean, and I have not yet decided how I'm going to go about this funny voice, so we're just going to wing it and see. It's now time for Would You Wear Them? So this is our new segment where, I guess I just change voices and do something really weird and stupid. And we decided we're going to put some images up on the screen of shoes recently released within the last few months. And we're saying, hey, throw the price tag aside. Would you wear the shoe? So, just a little opinion piece. Shoes are a very big part of sports as well as casual wear. Let's, branch out a little bit while staying within.
So,
sports.
the first shoe, what is these? Adidas?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see how it looks on our stream screen.
It's a
right
blown
now,
up picture. It's literally.
I mean, I can't see it within our video call, but
Same picture we have on the dock.
okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. So this one is called the Alpha Bounce Mid in Patrol Night. So you got your blues, your browns, because who doesn't?
And then
mix blue and
red
brown
spots.
together? Yeah, you got your red spots, and it's hard to tell from the picture on the screen, but it looks like it's a zip shoe. I'm hard there, no. I'm out on this shoe. I'm okay with the blue and the brown to some extent, because you could convince me that it's just a dark gold, like a Dijon mustard gold, but at the same time, I'm a 24, soon to be 25-year-old man. I can't.
Nah, I'm out. Like, nope, I'm okay with the main colors of brown and blue, but throwing that like red spots on there, it's just too contrasty.
Yeah, I mean, like, and why throw red spots on there? Like, if you go outside and play hoops and like step in like mud for like 20 seconds. And then get out, this shoe, when you get home, when all the mud dries, will have the exact same spots on it. So you didn't need to put spots on it. It looks a little bit weird. I think they tried to do a little too much with this shoe. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's like a 2.5.
Yeah, I'm still hard no way. I'm not wearing that.
Yeah.
Next shoe.
All right. So this one's called the Puma.
And before we get anywhere, hell no. There's no way
Well,
I'm wearing this orange glowy with neon yellow accent thing.
all right. So first of all, I'm gonna say that this shoe gets like a 3 out of 5.
I'm
from
giving
me,
it like
but
a
I'd
one
still
and a
not
half.
wear it. So
Get
the
out of
back-
here.
So the back, hey. So the backstory here is Puma doesn't do basketball shoes, but this summer they decided that they were gonna try to get back into it. They signed some guys to incoming rookies to shoe endorsement deals, like DeAndre Ayton, who was the #1 pick, and you got to start somewhere. But the thing is, Puma's like a running shoe company, and like this isn't even
No.
a good looking running shoe. Like I'm okay with the red.
It's
I'm okay
too
with the yellow
neon,
to some extent.
like all
But-
around. Like
Yeah, but also like the tongue of the shoe
basically.
is a sock. You can't tell me that shit's gonna last long enough to like want to see what it's like in 3 weeks. So I'm not dropping.
I'm not dropping
$120
any
on it,
money on this
but,
thing.
Like, yeah. I'm saying like even if I
You
was,
can't
like, a
sell me that shoe
collector
for like $30.
coming to Walmart soon. Sean's new Puma line. All right.
Next we got
Moving
the
on.
Reeboks.
The Reebok Aztrek. So it's a shoe from the 90s that I guess was very popular, and Reebok has brought it back. So this one just came out within. the
Okay, to
last
be
week
fair,
or two.
I don't hate this.
I think you probably hate the colorway more than you hate the
I
shoe.
think I actually don't mind the blue on it. The way they use it is, in my opinion, it's sparse enough, and then on the bottom it like comes up, and then you mix it with the black pretty well. Like, this is probably the only shoe that I would ever think of wearing, but I'm still not paying an absurd amount of money for it.
All right, so yeah, these run about $90. But keep in mind
Yeah.
they just
No, I'm not paying
so,
like, again, for me, like, I don't see, I'm not a collector, and as much as I would wear these, but not if I had to pay almost $100. Like, I'd go through shoes, and I wouldn't just buy them and keep them and never use them. I feel like that's a waste.
see, my thinking is if it's $90, I'm not buying a white
Yeah.
shoe. Because a white shoe can't be restored to, the first unboxing kind of condition after its initial use.
But to be fair,
Like, I think that all mostly white shoes should be capped out at $15.
but like,
because they're
to be
disposable.
fair, I don't hate the shoe, and if it was like maybe like not 90 but like 30 some, I could wear it.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. But in my hypothetical scenario, I'm going, I'd wear them for sure. I think it's like
Yeah, I'm good with that
3.5, 4 out of
ranking.
5.
All right, last shoe.
All right, yeah. Close off with a classic, and I think as we do the segment more, we'll probably throw in more classics.
I want to do like
and less
other
new
sports
stuff, but
shoes. Like, we should
because-
do like golf shoes or like soccer
Yeah.
cleats or.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm game. We'll mix it up a little bit. All right, so we got. The
I feel
Air
like
Force One.
this is worse in condition after wear than the Reeboks, because it just seems like the material on this will get too dirty.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think the color has something to do with it too. But the thing is, you got a gigantic white
And then you have this
Yeah,
belt
or whatever
going
it's called.
around the tongue. That like what?
Yeah, and you know that
What
that belt is
are we
gonna wear
looking
out.
at?
You know that.
Yeah,
You know
but
that
like, do
belt
I
is gonna
really want to
wear
walk
out,
around
right?
with a belt around my ankle?
I think it depends if you're wearing jeans. If you're wearing jeans and you can cover
But
the
if
belt,
you're using
it's
these as
fine. Like it,
basketball shoes or whatever,
then I don't
yeah,
think ideally you would, but then no, no. So my I'm putting this as a
I'm hell
maybe.
no. This gets like a
I'm going
two and a
maybe,
half,
and
and
I'll
I'm
give it
saying I'm never gonna wear this thing.
ooh, I was gonna say like a 2.7
All right.
out of 5. I mean, give me a different colorway and take that whatever that furry thing in the
But
swoosh is
so
out.
I think you change the material on this, it gets a lot better because it looks like it's not like a leather or any of the smooth material. It's like a I don't know what it's
Mhm.
called, but get any dust or dirt in that
Like
and
a
it just
vinyl.
sticks. Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
looks
doesn't
like a
look like it's
vinyl.
going to be upkept well, even if you're a collector and you're just going to leave it.
Yeah, yeah. That's one that you might want to have sealed in Saran wrap.
All right, so that's the shoes.
Yeah, that's the shoes and that's the show.
Yeah.
Wordplay. I can still get it done. 10:47 p.m. on a Friday night. I had one more left in me. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks for watching or tuning in.
Thanks for watching, listening, doing whatever you do for the show. Keep promoting for us, and we'll keep promoting for you. Keep on subscribing, rating, listening, and we will be back soon with more great content on In the Tunnel.